From the beginning, man has possessed the attributes of the animal. Speed, power, dynamic movement, the instinct to exploit the weakness of his prey. And from his human inventiveness came weapons that could puncture and slash his enemy's flesh. In his struggle to survive, he developed tactics to heighten his advantage. Gradually, man created a knife culture, which has changed very little as it has cut its way through time. What's hard to imagine, unless you've already been a knife victim, is the speed with which attacks can occur. Switchblades and gravity blades can be drawn and used instantly. Folding blades, like buck knives, can be locked in place when drawn, even with one hand. Watch how fast someone who's really skilled can get into action with a knife. And concealment can be almost anywhere.
Oh, yeah, little man.
Come on.
Sometimes poor tactics give an unarmed offender access to an officer's duty knife. Your escort procedures make sure it stays secure.
Okay, let's go to the car.
Hey!
Come on.
Hey, little pinky.
The first step is to become aware that edged weapon attacks often occur in unlikely situations, often when you're distracted or not expecting them at all.
Police department. Storney? Jim Storney? Storney, I got a warrant for you. I know you're in there. Come on to the door. Storney, open up.
Tactics designed to defeat traditional physical control measures are widely available and taught to civilians. A basic concept for countering obstacles is simply to redirect the edged weapon and keep attacking from another angle.
The basic perception if you get into a knife attack is there's going to be one single thrust. You're going to cleanly and effectively block it, and that's going to be the end of it. You're going to apply a little bit of your academy-taught self-defense. You're going to bend that knife out of his hand and arrest the bad guy, and that's the end. It doesn't work that way, sports fans. Things go from bad to horrible real quick. Right away, you're in deep shit. You're in bad shape. You're in a bad place. Faster than you ever perceive it happening to you.
The use of the unexpected is a favorite tactic of edged weapon offenders.
I told you 3 times to stop bothering the customers. This time you're going to jail.
Why don't you leave me alone, man? Why don't you back off?
No, this time you're going to jail.
You're too close.
Unlike the Hollywood depiction of the single telegraphed strike, most edged weapon attacks against police are much less predictable and involve subjects whose behavior may not be so obvious. You're safest to treat any call as having some potential for an edged weapon attack. But realize that certain situations tend to carry great risk. For example, in making a traffic stop, a lack of caution in contacting the driver may bring you within range of common cutting weapons.
Hi there. Say, do you have a driver's license? You just roll through that stop sign back there.
And your partner may not even be in a position initially to help you or even see any threat.
He's here somewhere.
No problem. Something with your photo, name on it, that'll be fine.
Oh, God! Oh, God! God! Oh, God! Jesus Christ! What? Officer down here! Oh! He stuck me, man! God! He stuck me! Oh!
The deputy who stopped this truck didn't see a knife hidden in the crevice between the dashboard and the windshield. While the driver was standing outside, he reached in, grabbed the knife, let out a startling martial arts yell, and attacked. The deputy was stabbed 9 times in the stomach, arm, shoulder, back, and ended up losing a kidney. On your vehicle stops, do you consider that a violator may have rigged up a scabbard in the armrest, allowing him to quickly arm himself? Or that he may reach toward you with a driver's license that he's altered with a razor blade taped to the back? Even a common item, like an ice scraper, given the right offender and motivation, can suddenly become an edged weapon you may not be expecting.
Keep them out. Nice and cool.
Moving in for an arrest, you're necessarily close.
Be nice. Hey, come on, stand up, okay? Come on, stand up.
Without good tactics, you make yourself vulnerable to an incredible array of edged weapons. Just a sampling of what's available is indicated by these knives recovered by courtroom officers. And these weapons, taken from a search of students at a public school. Of course, you're aware of the balisong, or butterfly knife, whose folding handle aids in concealment. And you've probably seen a knife that looks like a ballpoint pen. But are you familiar with the Mexican sacatripe, used for gutting sheep and other warm-blooded animals? Or the butane lighter holder that conceals a push knife in back? Or the bracelet that pulls open into a knife? This commercially available rig gives an offender ready access to throwing darts hidden up his sleeve. This kind of money clip has more of a point to it than just holding cash. And a carrier like this, easily hidden under a shirt, can quickly arm a suspect with this wicked weapon. Tonto knives, among the deadliest fighting knives, have incredible penetration capability because of their special blade configuration. Plus, they can be used to crush a human skull. The ballistic knife can either be used for conventional slashes or stabs, or fired with deadly results by a powerful spring in the handle. There's also hidden danger in this lipstick tube, popular with prostitutes. Also sold on the open market is this key that opens into a knife, and this bear claw necklace. Adding to the threat are a host of improvised weapons, sunglasses that can be flicked to poke out your eyes, fish hooks hidden in earrings or stuck through pant legs to rip your fingers on a pat-down, boots with protruding spikes, a baseball cap with razor blades sewn to the back, which can be swung by the bill to cut your face. Even something like this mace, made by a teenager with lead and spikes in his workshop. Yet it's easy to forget the possibility of being confronted by one of these, isn't it? The rule remains, distance is your best defense unless adequate cover is available. Once you see the attacker, create a reactionary gap by enforcing voice commands or by using the unexpected, or consider full-scale disengagement.
Police! Police department!
Do you watch all the people who may be at the scene?
You guys are making a lot of noise. What is the problem?
Do you stay aware of everything around you that could be a weapon?
Okay, I'll take care of this.
What do you
I
mean?
want
Who
to
is this
get out of
person?
this house. He's ripped me off for the
Why are you
last
calling the
time.
whore?
He's
How do you
taken
mean?
everything I own. Right away, he wants to beer out of the refrigerator. Yesterday, he took everything he got. Everything. I gave it to his friends. He hangs out with his street punks on the corner all the time. That's no.
Common household items can produce extreme damage. An attack with this grapefruit cutter would be like getting stabbed with 2 knives. And screwdrivers are the second most popular edged weapon used to commit civilian homicide. Take a guess at what common household item caused this fatal chest wound. This table fork.
Time is court in session still today.
Officers who fall victim to edged weapons usually commit at least one critical error, like misreading what could be a weapon, or misjudging the subject.
Let's try it again. This time, why don't you leave the pens in the tray before you come through?
Sure.
Sometimes it's the unlikely individual who has the best chance of harming you. When you can control the reactionary gap, you create time by creating distance. Time to compute your force options, and time to communicate with the potential attacker.
Here's my license. Why don't you come get it? Drop the knife. Fuck you. I said, drop the knife. Oh, okay, just kidding. Hi, you called?
Yes, sir. I'm the manager. There's a woman getting raped in apartment 24 right now. This is a passkey. I don't want to get involved in it. There's a couple of doors on the right-hand side.
Room 24?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll check it out. We'll let you know what happens.
Thanks, sir.
Police! Hello, police!
Of course, you'll want to preclude or eliminate the possibility of using some lower level of force. You want to be certain of your target identification and try to achieve target isolation so no third parties are needlessly endangered.
Holy shit.
Lord, Satan, protect me.
Hello?
Lord,
Lady?
Satan, show me thy power.
Lady, are you okay?
Hail, Satan.
What's going on in here?
Shield me, Satan. Shield me from all the
Lady?
bad and the good. Hail, Satan. Hail, Satan.
Lady?
Be good.
Rick, she's got a knife. Drop the knife!
When you do have to use your firearm, remember this acronym, SMENS. When you can't create or maintain distance, or you have no other choice, you may have to know effective unarmed defense as a last resort. But be aware of extensive misinformation on this subject.
Hey, man, what are you doing here?
Standing around.
Well, why are you standing here and not on some street corner somewhere?
Free country, man. I can stand where I want.
Well, I don't like that. Let me see what's in your hand over here. You got some ID or something, man?
I got something for
Well,
you.
let me see.
Sir, I'm stopping you for a speeding violation. I need to see your driver's license. Do you have one with you?
Drop! Knife!
Sir, don't move. Put your hands. Don't move. Put your hands out to the side. Put them out to the side. Put your palms up. Don't move. Stay right there.
If sweep and disengage is not possible, you want to employ the principle of gun. When you can communicate, try to deliver your commands from behind cover and listen for cues to the suspect's psychology.
Officer, he's the one that stole the meat.
Hold it! Get away from the truck. What do you got under your coat?
Some meat, man.
Put the meat on the truck. Step away from the truck towards me. I'm gonna need some identification.
Here's your ID right here.
835, give me a backup man with a knife, blackmail. Tate's Food, 27 and National.
Throw down the knife.
Hey, man, I ain't throwing this knife down. This is special to me, man.
Throw down the knife.
Nah, this knife cost me a bunch of money, man. 350 bucks. It's a Vietnam commemorative knife.
All right, then just place the knife down slowly. It won't get scratched. Slowly place the knife down.
All right, I'll do that. I'll mess up my knife.
Spring-loaded knives, like the ballistic knife, require a reactionary gap of about 40 feet. Blowguns have been known to be accurate at 70 feet.
What's the problem?
There is no problem here. Well, you can go. Nobody called.
Let me see your hands.
Hey, just go. There's nothing wrong here.
Let me see your hands and step from the porch.
With this, an offender can control at least 150 feet. Outside prison, there are those with martial arts training who prefer the edged instrument over other weapons because of its silence. It never jams, never has to be reloaded, and it doesn't leave a ballistic residue. Plus, they understand that even for violent crimes, our liberal courts tend to be more lenient with knife offenders than with criminals who use guns. Unfortunately, a suspect's type may not always be obvious to you as a warning sign. Especially when nothing seems out of the ordinary, and when low light level or fast action make it difficult to see his weapon. These problems, of course, are multiplied when an edged weapon offender has backup. To overcome these suspect advantages, it is crucial that you read danger cues in behavior and body language.
Hey, you're blocking the alley. What's the problem?
Certain movements leave little doubt about intent. This represents imminent danger for sure. But many officers who become knife victims are so startled by a sudden charge that they freeze up.
Let me see your hands. Knife! Drop the knife!
One tactical option for close-up self-defense is to forcefully sweep and shove the attacker's knife arm away to deflect his attack. Then quickly move forward to expand your reactionary gap. This is called sweep and disengage.
Oh, shit!
In this situation, the weapon itself may provide sufficient direct pressure to restrict the flow of blood. Don't remove it. Hold it in place.
You guys have any idea as to where the officers are at?
I don't know. This is the location they gave us.
Well, why don't you check with your dispatcher and make sure this is the correct address? And then why don't you check continuing this way for me? I'll cross the street and check behind you.
Sounds good.
Okay.
When you do call for assistance, be specific about your exact location and injuries.
Squad 21 to the dispatcher.
Squad 21, go ahead.
10-7 with a violator, 41 southbound. It's a silver 78 Chevy two-door, California plates, King, Ida, Lincoln, Mary, Edward. One white male occupant.
10-4, squad 21.
In most situations, your threat assessment will have to begin by you identifying the suspect's potential for violence. Most civilians would never threaten you with an edged weapon. Even those who carry concealed knives generally do so to protect themselves against criminals.
Squad 21.
Squad 21, go ahead.
Squad 21, be advised there's a possible local open warrant for DWI on that subject. The flight list to a Ron Thomas of Los Angeles. The warrant is on that subject.
10-4.
But some will turn against you, if frightened or if provoked. Many civilians do live on the fringe of the knife culture. They're influenced by movies that glorify the blade, heroes who build confidence in fighting back against the bad guy.
Shut your engine off! What the fuck do you want? I want to see your driver's license. What for? Christ, I'm only a block from home. Why don't you let me go?
Look, I just want to see your driver's license.
Oh, Christ. I got it here somewhere. It's in the car. I'll get it.
Most people have drawn inner boundaries they don't want crossed. And sometimes the blade is there to guard those boundaries.
Here's my license. Why don't you come and get it?
Another clue to assessing threat potential is how the subject is holding the edged weapon once it becomes visible. A knife held point first with a loose grip may telegraph an attempt at an underhand or slinging throw. The saber hold is for throwing overhand and is generally even less effective. But it is more powerful and may cause injury even though the knife doesn't stick.
Please.
The underhand grip lets an attacker slash as well as stab. He can hold the weapon in the hand furthest from you to protect it from disabling strikes. Then his forward hand can block or grab your arm to clear the way to the target. Another popular position is the diagonal underhand grip, which shows even more skill because the knife's edge can be rotated to cut in backhand as well as forehand movements. Many targets are vulnerable to this technique. From the femoral artery in the groin to the arms, ribs, chest, the neck, and back. A very skilled knife fighter might use the reverse ice pick grip. Here the cutting edge is held to the outside for an effective forehand slash, which is followed by backhand stabs. The crucial tactic for your buying time to assess a suspect and to protect yourself against an edged weapon you don't immediately see is this: control distance. A third type of behavior usually occurs as a defensive reaction by an offender. The taunting gesture.
Get away from here. Get out of my house.
Drop the razor! Drop it!
What he's telling you is, don't invade my space or I'll attack you. Lying on a stomach wound lets the weight of your body apply pressure while your hands stay free to control the suspect and update communications.
20R. I'm up on the upper deck, East National, by the tracks.
10-4-20R. Ambulance has been sent. All units responding to 20R's location, be advised he is on the upper level near the commuter tracks.
Go for it. I'm gonna blow your brains out.
As you continue your deep breathing, commit yourself right now. I will survive.
You have to just pull that strength from within you, either through fear, through the desire to go home to your family, or through hatred.
Three things kept me going during that thing. The first thing was the conscious effort to keep after this guy. The second thing was I just don't like to lose. And the third thing was that the people that lived in that house were friends of mine. If I didn't have enough of a responsibility as a policeman, I had an even bigger responsibility as a friend. So I just kept on, and it worked out.
When they finally took me to the hospital, I was in bad shape. I had a blood pressure of 60 over nothing. I was literally dying right there on the lawn. I was scared to death. I remember one of the things I said to my partner when she caught me when I fell. I said, please don't let me die. You know, don't let me die here. They got me to the hospital, and they performed emergency surgery on my chest to try to reinflate my lung and to try to draw some of the blood out of there. And one of the things I remember out of the whole thing was seeing a priest come in and give me last rites. I'll never forget that. I remember him looking at me, and I remember looking up at him and seeing that white collar, and I just said, God, I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. And I remember him just making a cross on my forehead and giving me last rites.
In my mind, I'm never going to die in no ghetto. Absolutely never. If a man turns around and punches me in the head, the fight's on. If he cuts me, the fight's on. If I'm shot, the fight is on. I'm not losing no fight to no scumbag out there in no ghetto. Period. That's it. No son of a bitch out there is going to get me. The only way he gets me is cut my head off, and I mean that. I'll fight you till I got a breath left in me. I don't think any of those animals in that street can beat me. And I've gone that way for 18 years of street service, street duty, and that's the way I'm going to keep on going. You don't lose the fight.
After my partner died, I had a lot of calls where I came across edged weapons that people had in their possession, concealed, even as work tools. You just look upon these knives as differently, or I do, than prior to the incident happened.
It gets worse, you know. It doesn't get any better. It just every time you think about it, it gets worse. I just wish it never happened. Just don't take a knife for granted. It's a big mistake. It's a really, really big mistake. It might be the worst mistake of your life. Might be the last one you're ever able to make.